Hello everyone, my name is Zach Mueller. It's freezing in LA, and by freezing I mean 65 degrees, and you're watching The Insider. I'm currently wearing 4 layers of shirts and hoodies, 3 pairs of socks and slippers, and 2 pairs of pants. Okay, I'll be honest, no pants, but let's get started. Our first story of the day is about magic on the television set. National Geographic is having a 3-part TV special this Sunday at 8 p.m. EST called Brain Games. Apollo Robbins and David Copperfield are going to be featured on the special, showing a couple illusions and such, and just from the website alone, I'm pretty excited for it. Just imagine every viral video you've ever seen that messes with your perspective or your perception, or pretty much anything that Marco Tempest has ever done in higher production on National Geographic with Apollo Robbins and David Copperfield. It's gonna be awesome. Switching from National Geographic all the way over to the Discovery Channel, Penn and Teller have a brand new show that's going to be airing after brand new episodes of Mythbusters that is called Tell a Lie. And yes, it's in America. Finally, we get a decent magic-themed TV show that is not just in the UK. I'm sorry, what's that? It's not actually a magic-themed show, it's just a show that's hosted by Penn and Teller? Okay, never mind then. The concept of the show is actually pretty cool. It's very similar to the old Two Truths and a Lie game. Basically, they will show you 7 unbelievable stories, such as a trick to surviving an alligator attack, or a musical note that supposedly causes alligator mating, and 5 others. One of the 7 stories that they discuss is complete bullshit, and the other ones are legit. They spend 5 or so minutes on each subject, and the footage is actually pretty cool. The way they explain it is really intriguing, and of course Penn and Teller throw in some sleight of hand and magic occasionally. Then at the end of the show, they reveal which of the 7 stories is completely fake. It's a pretty fun idea. They even have some smartphone apps that allow you to vote on which story you think is the fake one, which is pretty neat. And even though a lot of game shows like Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me already use this similar concept, it's still really fun to watch. The stories are extremely interesting, the magic is pretty good, and of course you get Penn and Teller's dark sense of humor. The first episode premiered this past Wednesday, and I have to say, I'm pretty addicted. It's a really fun show, and let's face it, you're all nerds anyway, so you're probably already watching Mythbusters on Wednesdays, and now you have an excuse not to get off the couch afterwards. You ain't passing that up. Penn and Teller also did a 38-minute uncut interview where they basically just sat in front of a camera and both answered 10 user-submitted questions. Well, obviously, just Penn answered the questions. Teller didn't really do much. But it's still a pretty interesting interview that you can check out in our media section. I must warn you, though, it is 38 minutes long, and once you start watching, you will not be able to stop. I started watching and I had to go to the bathroom. I thought, oh, I'll just watch the first 2 minutes, and then no, you get sucked into all 38 minutes in its entirety. And I'm 90% sure I now have a yeast infection. As you probably know, Steve Jobs passed away this past week at 56 years old. He was a huge inspiration and icon among pretty much everyone in the world. He changed the music industry with the iPod and iTunes, he changed the cell phone industry with the iPhone, and he pretty much changed how we live on a day-to-day basis. I heard of his passing via Twitter on my iPhone, I read the full article about him on my iPad, and I watched his entire Stanford address on my Apple TV. Okay, that's a stretch. No one really bought the Apple TV, not one of Apple's strong suits. All kidding aside, he was really an amazing person. He was a real inspiration for myself, and I'm sure many other people. And in many ways, he changed the magic industry as well, whether that be with the crazy amount of magic apps on the iPhone, or even the inspiration for The Wire with iTunes and the App Store. We've lost a really smart and inspiring guy, but he's made a huge impact on the world and the way that we live our lives. So Steve, you'll always be in our memories. Props to you. Lastly, yesterday we released a bowlin' new trailer for the Tallyho playing cards featuring the hands of Michael Herp. I'm pretty sure it's the coolest trailer I've ever seen for a product that you can buy at Walgreens that's cheap and simple. Well, that's debatable. We also released a new teaser for an upcoming effect that I cannot tell you anything about, but I'm going to play this trailer that doesn't actually show any of the effect, but will hopefully get you psyched for it. Let's watch. You can watch the rest of that trailer in our media section, and it will be arriving soon. It's actually not coming for another few weeks, so don't get your hopes up. Last week I asked you all, who would you most like to perform for if you could perform for anyone in the world, and here were your responses. I'd perform for George Lucas, but then I'd keep remastering the trick over and over, year after year, until it was nothing like the original. You mean like Jay Sankey did with the ambitious card? Oh, I went there. None of these comments are funny. I agree. I'd perform for DJ Khaled because all I do is win, 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 no matter what. By the way, if you ever want your comment to be on the show, but not win, but just to be on the show, just write a song lyric that I enjoy, and I'll most likely use it. And our winning comment is Pamela Anderson. Why? Have you seen her? Yeah, I have. She's disgusting. Even though you've won, you seriously need to set your priorities straight. Your question of the day for this week is, if you could design a TV show that was in some way magic themed, whether that was a game show that somehow involves magic, or a street magic special that solely revolves around Magic Dude 09, what would it be and why? Be descriptive, make it ridiculous, and somewhat funny, and I might just feature it in next week's episode, and you could be famous like me. I'm not famous at all. Why do some of you think I'm not, okay? These videos get 2,000 views a week. That's not anything. That's all for this week's episode. Be sure to check out our Saturday night contest tomorrow night in our forums if you like winning prizes and playing games and competing and then fighting about who won because you thought it was unfair in some way. Be sure to check that out. And other than that, that is about it. And I will see you next Thursday. Friday. Next Friday.